You know, Proverbs 23:7 talks about as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And so it's not so much you are what you eat, you know, you are what you think.
That's right.
Okay, we're back in the kitchen with Mike and Diane and Eric and Kara, and good to hear from Dr. Mike on the beach there. And the bottom line is there's a big battleground that's going on in our marriages, and it's really up here. It's in our mind. Those negative internal thoughts that can lead to the negative feelings, lead to negative behavior, and we really need to kind of nip it in the bud early on.
Like the way you called me a monster in the last segment, that could actually lead to
I wasn't
negative
calling
thoughts.
you a monster. I was saying some guys might. Okay,
We should probably get Dr. Mike.
now I'm getting defensive. I'm getting defensive. That's another program.
Real quick.
But no, my point is that something that was said last week can really start to fester. And then we can start thinking about it, and then it can become so much bigger in our minds than it should be because it was so harmless what he said. But then I start to think about
Over
it.
and over.
It's like a snowball going downhill. You know, we got to watch our minds and the way we think.
That's so true. That's so true.
We there's that song, that gospel song that said, "He saw the best in me," when everyone else around could only see the worst. He saw the best, right? And it was talking about God seeing the best in us. And so with that, if we could apply that same thing of seeing the best in people, right? And specifically our spouse, right? If we can learn to try to find the best in them, we can always look for bad things, right? But I think our job, right? Our goal is to find the best, to look for the best. And when you look for the best, you'll find the best. When you look for the worst, you'll find the worst.
That's good.
And to not only think those good things about them, but actually verbalize them as well and say, you know what, I really appreciate this about you. And that helps to reinforce, you know, to yourself, but also makes a big difference in her mind as well.
Yeah, and we have to learn how to love through those things, right? So if we can just remember to keep loving our spouse through, you know, because sometimes we do say things that we don't mean for them to be hurtful, right? But like you said, we sit on them and they fester, and then it comes back up in the next argument, and it comes up again, right? And it just kind of, so we have to learn how to love through this. But there are a few things that we need to learn how to say to our spouse. And for instance, I was wrong. It's hard to say sometimes, you know, babe, I was wrong.
I was.
I'm sorry. I was wrong. Or I'm sorry, right? Sometimes we can't say I'm sorry because we have that pride thing going all the time. And the other thing is forgive me. You know, just forgive me. I was wrong. Forgive me. But there are certain words that we need to learn how to communicate to one another to make things easier.
Because then when we get in the habit of saying those words, then we can go into that battlefield in the mind and take away the power that those words would have, the problems that would have.
That's right. That's it.
Would you forgive me?
I find it so easy to do that too when I'm not taking care of myself. So if I'm not getting enough sleep, or if I'm not in my devotional life, or things like that, I can find that sometimes if Eric says something, I might fester on it because maybe I didn't get enough sleep, and just reminding myself, no, I need to take every thought captive, that I need to sometimes just hold on a second, maybe sleep on it, or just say, Lord, like, I know Eric's heart and I know he loves me. Help me to see what he sees. Help me to see what you see, Lord, so that I can act appropriate in this instead of just acting like emotional and just
That's good.
going all out. And
On the other side of the coin there, instead of maybe you're overthinking it, on my side, sometimes I actually kind of feel, I don't know if it's I feel guilty or something, but that I'm not thinking as hard as Kara is about these issues. And so, like, is that an issue on my part? Do I need to change that? And so, I don't know. And then I start overthinking about underthinking. And so
And then that's a problem.
so then where do we go from there?
But I mean, you guys have only been married 3 years, so you're still learning how to process these things, and that's really good. I mean, you're talking and thinking the right way. You're asking the right questions, and that's the important thing. Yeah.
You know, Proverbs 23:7 talks about as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And so it's not so much you are what you eat, you know, you are what you think.
That's right.
Because as Mike was saying, those thoughts lead to the feelings, and feelings lead to behaviors, and so, but it starts in the mind. And so how can we, renew our mind? The Bible talks about renewing our minds and doing things, thinking about the good things, the pure, the holy, the lovely. And
that's Philippians chapter 4 in the Bible, where Paul says, this is what you need to do. You need to think about the good things, whatever is true and pure and good. And especially think about those things in regards to your spouse. Because this is the most important relationship you have on the planet. Aside from your relationship with God, there is no one higher, not even your kids. Sorry, hon, you're my son, but
You're the most important in my life.
exactly. You've got to work out things
things
but no, I think you guys knew that too, didn't you, growing up, that this relationship was the most important. And so you really do need to pour most of your energy into thinking and how can you make this better. And the battleground of the mind is a really important place to start.
Eric, that's why I loved you talking about overthinking and underthinking, right? Because that really is the key, right? As long as you are processing. The challenge with mindset, right, is we have set minds, right? And if we do explore, that's that whole exploration process, thinking about it, trying to get better, that's what leads us to better understanding, better relationship, better communication. So continue to think. So that because what you're doing is wonderful. That is the right thing. And by the way, you've made the right choice too. Her comments, just that whole so admirable to even be able to think and process like that.
This
I think
early
a lot
in
of
their
people.
marriage,
I think a
right?
lot of people will be encouraged by your words.
Can I pick them or can I pick them?
You're on it, bud.
all right, well, this is great. It's been a good discussion. And so we're not finished with the program quite yet, so stay with us, all right?